Hello, everyone. Welcome to AgFlow's webinar, AgFlow's market review. My name is Hugo Boudet, and I will be presenting this market review to you today. All right, let's get started. So, this week we're going to talk about the veg oils market. It's very interesting at the moment because obviously, as it may or may not be known, Ukraine and Russia represent about 80% of the production and export market. And basically, right now, what we're seeing is that the veg oils are flowing and the prices are coming down. So let's get into it. Right now, what we've seen in 2022 is that the veg oils were lacking on all markets. There was a situation that was really explosive before even the Ukraine war started. So, as I mentioned, Ukraine and Russia produce and export about 80% of all sunseed, of all the sunseed markets globally. And so the war on Ukraine and the lack of supply available from Ukraine added to this very explosive situation where, due to the wildfires, Canada production globally, with grains and oilseeds, was really cut in half. It was really about 50%, and that also includes rapeseed. And you also had, in addition to that, the palm oil situation in Indonesia and Malaysia, where the workforce was prevented from coming due to COVID restrictions, and then also bad productions as consequences of La Nina in the Southeast Asian area. And also, you have to think about all of these factors together when the Ukraine war happened, which led to this really explosive situation, which therefore contributed to the situation where we've seen the veg oils prices exploding on all markets, led by palm oil, which is the ground floor for all veg oils, which allowed all the markets to rise in 2022. So now what we see today is that prices are currently decreasing globally, and that's due to a more access, a lot more supply available on the veg oils market. What we see is that global palm oil production is estimated to rise by 3.6% year on year. That's to 80.1 million metric ton. And that's also the Malaysia September 2022 palm oil ending stocks are currently were at their highest since September 2019. So we have a lot of supply available on the market. We don't have to have the situation where countries like Indonesia had prevented exports to make sure that they have domestic supply. And in addition to that, we have the soybean in Latin America. The production is expected to rise by 35 million metric tons. That's including Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. So a lot of oilseed available to produce soybean oil. And then we also have, on the other hand, the EU domestic supply, which is leading the market to be a net exporter, contrary to what it was before, a net importer. That's actually what we see on the graph on the left here. So this is courtesy of Oil World, and what we see is that in 2020, 2021, what we see is that the European market throughout the quarters was really a net exporter of rapeseed oil. And then in 2021, 2022, what we see is that this trend was completely reversed, where most of the quarters it was actually a net importer of rapeseed, notably from Australia, a lot to be produced to be used as biofuels. But we've seen in the latest one that this has been changed, and the market is switched back to being a net exporter of rapeseed oil. So this is also a good factor. That means that there's a lot more, supply available at export, and then also the EU market is really still has a lot of supply to play with. It doesn't need to import as much as it previously did. in 2021, 2022. And then we have also the situation where Canada, which is the main producer of rapeseed in the world, even though we had Australia in 2021, 2022, which provided a bumper crop, like the best rapeseed crop that they've ever had, it didn't compensate for the loss of half of the Canadian production. But what we see is that in 2022, 2023, the Canada recovered from the droughts that they had and increased the year-on-year production by just under 39%, so 38.8%. It's almost fully recovered from the droughts that they had, and it's down 2% from the record 2020-2021 production. So we have a good amount of veg oils available on the market. And what we see is that despite this volatile situation that we have in Ukraine, the market currently has a lot of supply for veg oils, a lot of different commodities to be exchanged instead of sunseed, and as a result, the prices are decreasing. So now, what I want to show you is what we see from AgFlow data. So I created this dashboard here. So the first thing that we see is Malaysia RBD palm oil FOB prices. This prices, as we see, the what's interesting here, I don't want to spend too much time on the price. It's in US dollar per metric tons, but what we see is that the trend was really down from this summer, and especially from Q2 2022, where we really had this huge price increase. And the trend is really down. So it's a good indicator of what I was saying earlier, that Malaysia has a lot of supply available, and also a reflector of the ending stocks in September. Now also I wanted to show you this. So this is the palm oil ex-work prices versus Kuala Lumpur CKPO in US dollars. So this is the futures market versus the cash market. What's interesting to see is that really they do follow the same trend. There's no inverse curves, so the basis is still remain the same, and we really see that the market is really in this back to more regular levels, I would say. We're still in quite high prices compared to a few years ago, but we actually back under the $1,000 per metric ton bar. So this is really to show that this trend is actually followed by both cash and futures market. Now, what I wanted to see as well is, so this is a historical price curve for Bulgaria, for rapeseed, sunflower, and soybean oil. So those are all veg oil prices from Bulgaria, FOB. And what we see again is, I'm not going to spend too much time on the value themselves, but what we see is downward trends that is similar to what we see with the palm oil market. So we really see that, like, as the supply available from the different commodities came in, really all the veg oil market really the pressure on the veg oil market really decreased and fell down. And this is also something that we see on the oilseeds market. This is oilseed prices. So we've got Canada rapeseed, we've got Brazil soybean, and France sunseed. So let me just expand a little on that one. All right, so yeah, so if we look at rapeseed from Canada, it was really a dented price, a lot of volatility there, but it seems to be really well recovered, especially since the new crop came out. Now the soybean from Brazil. So this curve is a bit crushed, I would say, by the rapeseed one and the sunseed one in terms of scale. But we do see that, like, it's down to lower levels, down to the 500 metric tons. So if I just highlight it like this, you can see that, like, really it's really down. It's down as well, and also due to the fact that China has a lot less demand at the moment. But yeah, overall, this is what we see in terms of movement. One other thing that I wanted to highlight was in terms of import and export flows. So this is exports from Canada, rapeseed and rapeseed meal, monthly and by destination. So what we see is that obviously China is the main market. China as well as India are, you know, the primary markets for veg oils and oilseeds in general. And what we see is that although, as to be expected from the lack of supply, Canada really lacked exports in 2022. We see that since the new crop came out, really the exports rebounded and really improved also year on year. So we can see that Canada is really back on track with its rapeseed, which is very good for the market overall. So that's it for the vegetables news that I wanted to mention, but I've got some other interesting things to talk about. We really like to highlight or contribute uh, our network. And so I'm gonna just show you a bunch of tweets that also give, I would say, some perspective on the market. Um, so this one is really interesting. It's also on rapeseed and canola. It's coming from the IGC. And what we see is that although acreage is expected to fall in the next year, so not this year, but the next season, it would still be the largest crop on record. So we still have very good news going onwards in the next 2 seasons. What we see right now is this peak right here is the current season. We really see that right now, this year, we have the highest acreage available for rapeseed globally, which really means that the supply is going to flow. It's going to be a downward pressure on prices and overall a good availability of supply. Next, another subject, still related to veggies and oilseeds. Just wanted to mention that's in Argentina right now. Argentina has been suffering from La Nina droughts for the past 3 years, and what we see is that currently soybean is finally paying the price, as we see the planting pace, which is usually as what Karen Brown is telling us from USDA. Sorry, not from USDA. That we see that normally it's a very consistent curve. It's a very consistent metric. But what we see in 2022 is that it's really gone off the curve and it's really slowed down compared to what we usually see. So planting is going to be delayed, which means the harvest is going to be delayed. So the soybean crop will definitely suffer a lot more from the droughts that will be coming this winter in the northern hemisphere, but in summer for Argentina from La Nina. As it happened for wheat, which crop was decreased, almost cut in half compared to last year, we might see something quite similar for soybean this year in Argentina. Now, concerning grains, this is a very interesting from wheat. I've seen many tweets talking about wheat production, be it from the US or Europe or even Russia. But this one is really interesting because what we see is that in India, which at some point was playing around to be an exporter of wheat in 2022, to be as another source, another origin available in the absence of the Ukraine supply. Well, we see that actually India has very low stocks and is planning to plant more wheat. So maybe this year there will actually be a lot more wheat available from India if the demand is not too strong and if the harvest is actually plentiful. Another very, very interesting one is that in the political field, I would say, is that as Russia, is lacking partner from the West, as it's out of the SWIFT world. Well, Russia is actually finding a lot of partners in people that didn't really take sanctions against it. So we see India, we see China, obviously, we see Iran. But China actually, sorry, India is actually being a very good client to Russia. So we see a lot more dynamic from Russia towards India, which is really interesting, not only in the energy sector, but also in the fertilizer and agricultural sector. Um, Also, in other news, it's really interesting to talk about GMO, especially when we talk about, for example, Mexico, which is banning some the GMO corn, which is going to be difficult for the US, as they were like the main importers of the US supply. Well, we see that Kenya right now is actually turning to GMO corn in terms of production because they currently cannot sustain their historical production with the crops the grains that they have right now. So that's really interesting to see that some other markets are open to GMO. That means that probably Kenya is also very much open to more GMO imports from the US. And I think that's interesting to see the dynamic also in Africa, which is what the second most populated continent on the planet. All right, so that's it for today, guys. If you liked it, please make sure to like this live. You can subscribe to the channel, and then you can activate the little bell if you want to be notified next time we go live. If you have any questions, please reach out to us with Irvin at agflow.com, and we would try and answer all the questions as possible, or you can reach him via his phone number. And that's it for me today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye.